Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the WheelCast. This episode is guaranteed to be at least yay noodly. I am your host, Greg Orange, and I'm here with two guests.
Hi, I'm Max Magnuson, and I'm really hoping to talk about more than one topic this time around.
Hey, I'm Alex. This is my second time around, and I'm also hoping to talk about more than one topic.
Alright, let me just go through the list real quick. At number one, as always, it's just end the podcast. Can't end it until you hit it, and once you hit it, you have to end it. Topic number 2 is Team Modern. 3, Gatherer Wheel. 4, Forcing and Draft. 5, Open-Faced Sleeves. 6, Least Favorite Keywords. 7, Type 1.5. 8, Ghosting. 9, Favorite MTG Bugs. 10, Favorite MTGO Bugs. 11, Chaos Draft. 12, Noodly Judge Calls. 13, Dazzling Dual Decks. 14, Pack War. 15, Inappropriate Sleeves. 16, About Yay Far. 17, Fast Food versus Fast Casual. 18, WheelCast Probabilities. 19, N64 Games. And 20, Galaxy Quest. Alright, let's get into it then. Time to spin the wheel.
6.
Ooh, that means we're talking about least favorite keywords.
Ooh.
Alright, who wants to start talking about it?
I guess I'm not a huge fan of hexproof. I kind of know why it exists, but it always annoys me.
Yeah, I think hexproof is just a little bit too much uninteractive for my taste.
Yeah, I'm more of a fan of Shroud. Shroud is nice.
Yeah, I think that the real issue with hexproof is when they print it on creatures that the converted mana cost is 2 or less, because usually when it's on most creatures that are bigger than that, it doesn't tend to be an issue, but sometimes you get boogled.
Yeah.
If the creature costs 6, I'm less worried about it, because creatures that cost 6 have to do something that's pretty nice. I'm not a huge Slippery Boy fan, I guess.
Yeah, I like 1 mana. It can just sneak under counter spells and other things, so you can't even take it with a discard spell or...
Yeah. But I guess people were probably slightly confused by Shroud. I imagine people wanted to put an enchantment on their Shroud guy and whatnot, and were told they couldn't do so, which was probably awkward for them or whatnot.
Yeah. And when hexproof existed to a degree with Troll Shroud, or it was considered Troll Shroud before.
Troll Shroud is nice.
Yeah. I think it's kind of off theme, but I think Cascade, even though you're really spinning the wheel, is kind of not a great mechanic.
Yeah, Cascade doesn't involve the right amount of wheel spinning, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, there's just games where they spin better than you, and that's not really there's already variance in Magic without there being added variance on as a key mechanic.
I think Miracles as a mechanic is a much worse example of that.
Yeah, I think that's design flaw though, because if they would have made the Miracle cost and for Terminus for example, if it was 3 and 5 versus 6 and 1, I think that they blew it themselves by undercosting it that much.
It is just inherently very random mechanic. I like Miracles when you set them up with a brainstorm or something.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. It just feels horrible when you're just having this nice game and you're entreat the angels for 3. And
I'd like it more if it only worked if you've already drawn it and then put it back.
Yeah.
Something weird like that.
When you draw it, you have to reveal it to your opponent for when you draw it later.
Yeah.
Mark the card so you know.
Yeah, that sounds nice. Nice and easy.
I mean, Greg did have a game where his opponent's turn 1 drop, and he's tapped Hollowed Fountain, and his opponent's Burning Tree, Lightning Mauler, 6 you pass, and he's Miracle Terminus, get your man.
Yeah, I did play Terminus in Standard just because sometimes you draw it.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are some situations. It's usually not good, and that's an example of a game where it's nice.
How do you feel about banding?
Banding is... Yeah.
I think banding is actually pretty nice and overhyped on how complicated it is.
Yeah, I feel like it's just too late now to learn what banding does.
Yeah, it's not... I mean, and it's a it's not as complex as people make it out to be, but it is more complex than it needs to be.
Yeah, it like incentivizes you to not attack, so then it like
Draws out the game.
yeah, it like draws out the game and you get ground stall, so it just like doesn't lead to interesting game states.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's about 3 minutes on least favorite keywords. So if we roll a 6 again, we'll be calling shoes booze.
That sounds about yay noodly.
Alright, time to spin the wheel.
2.
Ooh, cold slug. Alright, topic number 2 is Team Modern. Any thoughts about... There's an upcoming Team Modern event at GP Detroit.
So, Greg, what do you think you would play if you were playing Team Modern?
Possibly like Dirtily Blue White. But there's some variety of Dirtily deck at least. Some blue cards.
Is it
hopefully.
Unified Modern at Detroit?
Yeah.
It's Unified Modern. So if my other teammates play, for example, like KCI and like humans, then I'd basically get to play all of the other cards.
Yeah, you could probably play like 5-color control.
Yeah, I could just solidly play 5-color control, no restrictions necessary.
Yeah.
No chromatic stars in your deck, though.
Yeah, I'll have to find another way to fix my mana, I suppose.
Yeah, I think usually what ends up happening is there's like the Mox Opal seat, so I think they'll be taken up by either KCI or Affinity this time around. So you like see those decks pop up more than they usually do.
Yeah, I think Blue White's pretty well positioned at the moment, so I bet some person on the team there's a good chance that someone plays a Blue White control deck piece. People also just really like to play that style of deck.
I did try playing a Blue White Terminus deck at like a local Modern event on Tuesday, and I miracled no Terminuses.
Oh, how unlucky.
I know, I was very unlucky, I thought. Or maybe, it was a pretty small sample size to be fair, or whatever, but I did have the opportunity to miracle one in the blue-white control mirror, and I declined.
So, yeah. I've played exactly one Unified Modern tournament. So.
What did you play?
I played the Tower Games had a Modern, and me, Scott, and Daniel played against 15 other people who had never been on the Pro Tour before.
What deck did you personally
I
play?
played humans, and I was very good at winning humans mirrors, apparently. I think I went like 4 for 4 in humans mirrors. So.
Ooh, that's nice.
I mean, I had opponents make nice ones like they would Vile, I go Vile. They like tick up to 1, Violent Champion of the Parish, and then like hard cast like a Phantasmal Image. And I'm like, response, gut shot your boy.
Ooh, that sounds...
Nice 0-0.
Yeah,
that
so
sounds about yay noodling.
So I mean, it was probably there's some user error, I'm guessing, but
Yeah. Alright, well that's about 3 minutes of this topic. So if we roll, what was that, number 2 again, we'll be talking about Kubrick's moon landing. Time to spin the wheel. Ooh, 13. 13 is Dazzling Dual Decks.
Ooh.
so why don't you explain what Dazzling Dual Decks are, Greg?
Well, I guess it's just dual decks that are dazzling. So, I don't know, maybe like Bird Tribal? What would you say?
I'd be pretty into Bird Tribal.
I don't know. I was thinking more like, bros versus hoes, and having like one deck is like all male creatures and one's all like female creatures.
I thought you were talking about farm equipment. So
No.
it'd just be like 30 equipment.
I like the all equipment deck.
Versus the all creature deck.
Like they'd be like Smuggler's Tractor.
My deck is all equipment in one deck. All creatures.
There could be some vehicles in there too.
Wait, does the hose deck get to play Swords to Plowshares?
Sure.
That's a nice one.
What about crop rotation?
Ooh, for sure. Is there any other farming themed cards?
There's definitely some other farmland is a card, right? I think. Isn't it?
Irrigated farmland.
Yeah, that's a card.
There you go.
Yeah,
Could play
It's
some
like something busted.
It could play some oxen to till the fields.
Yeah.
Some O4s for 0 or for 1.
Yeah, that sounds nice. Some pillar field oxes too.
Yeah.
I think there's an Innistrad or equipment from Innistrad that's a farming utensil.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sharpened pitchfork.
Ooh, yeah, there we go.
This deck sounds nice. I don't know, any other sweet dual deck ideas?
I'd kind of like to see cats. I think.
Ooh, cats. Cats versus what? Dogs? Or cats versus minotaurs?
There you go. The natural enemy of the cat.
Yeah, I like that idea. Cats versus minotaurs.
Yeah.
I can get behind that dual deck. I played against Minotaur Tribal in a PTQ once.
In what format?
I think it was standard.
Oh, so they weren't playing any didgeridoos?
No, just the standard ones. Unless it was modern, I can't remember. I played against a standard deck in a modern PTQ once. But the funny thing was, it was round 2 and I was 1-0.
Ooh,
And so
good on this person.
Yeah, so I asked him, the thing is, it wasn't even a great standard deck. It was kind of not great standard deck. And
Yeah.
so I asked him, so how did you win round 1? What did you play against round 1? And he just says, oh, some more vintage type deck. Yeah. So, let's see. That's about 3 minutes on, what's this topic?
Dazzling
Dual decks.
Yeah.
So if we roll a 13 again, we will be talking about Trunk Vodka.
I was gonna say, I would kind of like a dual deck of something that everybody hates versus everybody.
Ooh. Tronlands?
Tronlands versus everybody.
Yeah.
Tronlands versus everybody sounds nice. Alright, time to spin the wheel.
3.
Ooh, that's the Gatherer wheel.
Nice.
Time to spin the Gatherer wheel as well. Let's see. Ooh, we've got Earth Elemental. Classic.
Earth Elemental's a nice one.
So for anyone who was watching the beta draft, Earth Elemental definitely does some work in beta draft because a lot of the creatures are really bad.
Imagine it's a pretty high pick. So it's a 4/5 for 5.
I mean,
Ooh.
There's a 3/5 for 5 for 4 and a green that Ironwood Tree Folk or something that someone was running 3 copies of in their deck, and it's oh yeah, this card's great.
Yeah,
It's
back then the stats are just so big.
Yeah, so a 4 or 5 is just a big boy.
Yeah, the guy's probably gonna go late, I assume, in that format.
I mean,
so you have time to cast a
I'm assuming
4/5 for
Fire
5.
Breathing is a 7th pick in that draft format or something. So
Yeah.
So this is the inverse of Fire Elemental.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Fire Elemental's probably a little bit more flavorful. That's why they probably keep reprinting that one, I guess.
Yeah. It's a little bit more powerful for modern standards.
Earth Elemental kind of sounds more like a green card than a red card to me.
yeah, it does.
Yeah, I would agree.
This particular Earth Elemental is apparently from Alpha, says the Gatherer, and it has a community rating of 2.5 stars.
Ooh, very average.
Yeah.
That is a very average rating. Can you rate that a 5 stars? Just bump it to that 2.6. It could be a.
See, there's only 45 votes. I don't know. I might have to log in or something.
Ooh, we might all have to vote 5 stars.
Yeah, so if anyone listening, try to pump up the rating on Earth
Pump the
Elemental.
jam on Earth
Yeah.
Elemental.
Let's try and get this.
There are
one
people
up
throwing
there.
shade on Earth Elemental.
Yeah.
Pump them up.
I don't think people understand how good it is in that draft format.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a very high pick.
I bet Earth
it's no Sarah Angel, but what is, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's no Singer, it's no Sarah, it's no Shivan Dragon, but I mean...
Yeah, did anyone watch the Silver Showcase?
No.
I did not watch any of it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either.
You're kind of busy doing something else.
Yeah, I was slightly busy doing something else. Although, while I was waiting for the I guess the top 4 of the PT to start. I was watching it briefly while I was eating like the breakfast they had available, which is just like some fruit and like muffins or whatever. And
Man, you took advantage of all the value that day between free drafts, free breakfast.
you can't pass up on the value.
Yeah, definitely cannot pass up on the value. They're giving away like tons of prizes at that PT. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Of people like watching it, just like from the sidelines, we gave like $1,000 worth of stuff from like sitting there for like an hour.
And they cleared out the old foil set vault.
Yeah, yeah, they're giving away foil sets to everybody.
Yeah, that was nice. Alright, so that's about the 3-minute mark on the Earth Elemental. So if we roll, what number was that?
A 3.
3. If we roll a 3 again, we'll be talking about chode names.
No,
So
it's
time
me.
to spin
Okay.
the wheel.
7.
That'd be type 1.5. So how do you feel about type 1.5, Salty J?
I think Type 1.5 is sweet. So for those of you who don't know, Type 1.5 is aka Legacy before it got the name Legacy. There's some sweet decks in Type 1.5, that a bunch of Chrome Mox decks with like City of Terrors, like Angel Stompy or Soldier Stompy or Fairy Stompy. I had a game where I had an opponent who had 2 Nether Voids in play, and I remember it very clearly because I had 2 Noble Arcs in play, and I was just attacking him for 2 every turn, and he put him to 2. He rips a 9th way to float 9 mana and plays a Morphed Exalted Angel, and I'm like, nah, battle you for 2, and he's like, jump. And the next time he's like, play another Morphed Exalted Angel, I'm like, yeah, battle you for 2, and he's like, under the bus. And the next time he like draws his card, he's like, alright, scoop him up.
So what makes Angel Stompy Stompy, or what makes all these decks Stompy decks?
Do you know what the answer to that?
I'm not familiar with these
Do they have
types.
stomping grounds?
No, they don't have stomping. So in the stomping decks are just like they're basically like they play like City of Traders and Ancient Tomb, and they basically try to accelerate out creatures. And so like Angel Stompy was like Ancient Tomb and City of Traders, and then also like Chrome Mox and Mox Diamond, and then it would run Geddon. And so like the all-star plan was like Ancient Tomb, like Chrome Mox, play a morph, next turn planes like a morph up an Exalted Angel, attack him for 4, and that was like, how do you beat that? How do you beat Exalted Angel on turn 2?
I've heard about like Dragon Stompy, where
Dragon
they play,
Stompy's-
like Trinispheres and stuff.
Yeah, but that deck actually had like, it beat other decks because you'd like play turn 1 Blood Moons and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
can see how you could win with a turn 1 Blood Moon.
turn 1 Trinisphere is also really good in the format.
Yeah.
That does seem pretty
You just
nice.
like lock your opponent out, and then you can choose to win however you
Then you
want.
play Rakdos Pit Dragon.
Ooh.
It's a classy card.
Yeah, that was the dragon. I remember. And then like they switched over. I think after New Phyrexia, there's like the dragon that costs like 2 Phyrexia mana or something. Which is
Oh, you can pump for Phyrexian?
Yeah.
It's like,
Molten Steel Dragon?
yeah, I think that one got in the deck at some point. The deck got
Sounds
to,
about
you got to
right,
run like some
Emily.
hard, like it's basically like all the mono red big decks that are just like, yeah, we're playing Chandras, oh, we're playing Pianars, oh, we're just playing like big red stuff of whatever you want. So
Like Shivan Dragon?
I mean, that one's probably less likely, but
what about Aggro Loam?
Agrolome was actually really good. Do you know that deck?
Yeah.
See, there's a one.
Life from the Loam and Dark
Creatures.
Depths.
Well, there's no dark depths in that point.
Oh,
When it was in
okay.
1/5, but you
Yeah.
just ground them out with Punishing Fire and
Yeah, that's Seismic Assault. though.
Seismic Assault.
Oh, and like Barbarian Ring?
Yeah, it did have Barbarian Dragon.
Okay.
Did it? It had like, what else did it have? It was like a Jund deck, basically. Right?
I actually had a copy of Agrolome get stolen from me, and I was super mad because at the time I was like, I had this $500 deck stolen from me, and it has like 4 Goyfs and like 11 dual lands and like Mox Diamonds and 4 Dark Confidants, and it's like the value of the deck would be like 4.5 now.
Yeah, like 500 is like some standard decks get that expensive.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it was like, man, these Tarmogoyfs cost like $12. That was so, and my bayous of were like $20.
Right. Well, I feel like we're about at the 3-minute mark on this topic. So if we roll, Why do I keep forgetting this?
7?
Yeah, if we roll 7 again, we'll be talking about possible prequels. Ooh, time to spin the wheel. 8. Ghosting.
Ooh.
So, like, yeah, so this is when you play, like, Ghost Tribal and...
Thought they were
Modern?
That was Illusions.
Illusion Tribal?
Yeah. Or Spirits?
Ooh, Spirits are nice.
Bant Ghosting?
They did just print a new Ghost Lords.
I did.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the first Obsidian. I like the 4-mana Obsidian where you can, like, sack a guy to, like, blink it out or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you played, like, Bant Spirits, could you call it, like, Spooky Crisp instead of, like...
What's the crisp part?
Like, haven't you ever eaten, like, you know, like, the Cookie Crisp, but, like, during the during, like, Halloween, they make it Spooky Crisp?
I think that's only if you played in Legacy you can call it Spooky Crisp.
Yeah.
Because then it's in line with the other serial name deck names.
What about, like, Count Chocula?
Yeah, but there's not, like, if you wanted to play mono vampires, if you played, like, you know, Vampire Nocturnus, you could play like, Count Chocula.
Ooh, mono black vampire. Count Chocula. That's nice.
You have to, like, count each time you go up the curve. You, like, play your 1-mana vampire.
Ooh, 1, 2, 3 job. That's nice.
So ghosting is when you're playing your match and you go and you watch someone else's stream who's streaming on Twitch, and
you're playing against them.
And you're playing against them, and like the moral dilemma of like whether or not that's cheating or not if you're watching someone else's stream.
Yeah, I feel like it's not really cheating. It may not be like specifically sportsmanlike, but I feel like it's up to the streamer to like. I mean, they're choosing to reveal that information when they like don't have to.
Yeah. It's like technically within the rules, but it's like very frowned upon because it's unsporting.
Yeah. Like I feel like if I was streaming, I wouldn't be like mad at my opponent for doing it or something, but I guess I wouldn't be happy about them doing it either.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be like, man, how dare you, you know? I guess, I don't know. It's similar to, I don't know, to me it's like almost like if you like accidentally revealed your hand while playing like up face up on the table, like if it wouldn't be like illegal for your opponent to like look, but like at the same time it might be more sportsmanlike to look to avert your eyes, you know?
I don't know. I think it's probably more like their glasses are very reflective. Like they're choosing to wear glasses at the tournament, and so you can see the reflection of their hand in the glasses, but they're not like necessarily. It's not really like cheating necessarily. But I guess that's maybe not the best example.
In that situation, they probably don't know that their glasses are that reflective. Although I think that situation's probably not against the rules. I'd probably tell my opponent that their glasses are highly reflective.
It'd be more
I was trying to think of an example, but I was like, that's the best example.
It'd be more like if they like strapped a mirror to their face while they were playing.
If my opponent just strapped a mirror to their face, then like I feel like that's what they did. I'm not gonna like not look at the mirror at this point.
Do you care if I play him face up? Please.
If your opponent sits down, it's just like, do I care if I play him face up? I can't fault you for looking at that point.
Oh man, I was running telepathy in my main deck.
What am I gonna do with all these telepathies?
Should I board him out for game 2? Maybe he decides he doesn't want to play him face up game 2.
Oh yeah, that's how he gets you.
That's how they get him.
Gataxian Probe loses a lot of value in that scenario.
If you just play him up, yeah.
Yeah.
Bandit for no good reason, right?
Yeah. Alright, I feel like that's about 3 minutes on ghosting. So if we roll an 8 again, we'll be talking about the Meg. Alright, time to spin the wheel.
12.
Ooh, noodly judge calls. Got any noodly judge calls recently?
I can tell my noodliest judge call if anyone wants it. They take 60 seconds.
Go ahead.
So I was at a PBTQ and I was playing Jund in Modern, and I draw my card for turn and call a judge on myself and go, I forgot to announce my Dark Confidant trigger, and the judge tells me, there's an easy fix for that. So draw an extra card, put it in your hand, and then reveal it to your opponent, and he picks which one goes upstairs. And I was like,
Ooh,
and I remember specifically what I said, and that was, I don't know much, but I know that's wrong. And he's like, and he tells me in response, well, I'm the head judge, so you can either drop from the tournament or take my ruling. And I promptly get Xaxes to the next turn.
Oh,
is that not the right ruling?
No.
Yeah. Isn't it just like they choose whether or
They
not to
just
put
choose.
it on the stack?
Yeah, it's better.
or
Considered a
something?
beneficial trigger. They choose whether they put it on the stack.
Yeah.
So.
But that's like the Thoughtseize one, right? If you like, that's for like drawing extra cards.
Yeah.
Right? Where
Wait, so you
reveal your hand.
just missed your Dark Confidant trigger?
Yeah, and so he's like, put it on the stack, but he gets to pick the Kalitas in your
So
grip.
he reveals your whole
Upstairs.
What?
hand. Yeah,
That's the fix. Easy fix. Put it on
Yeah.
the stack. He
Oh,
picks
that's
which one
fun.
goes upstairs.
yeah.
Did you at least get to draw the card?
I did, but then promptly got Xaxes to the
Okay.
next turn.
Yeah, and not to like rag on the judges too hard, but I feel like the most memorable judge calls are the ones that are like the worst.
Yeah.
generally.
Just utterly baffling.
I've heard some funny ones like you and your opponents both get deck checked, and they hand you their decks back, and the judge just goes, "Oh, you're playing the 74 card mirror," and seems, and then walks away. Which is nice. And then, like right before the match even starts, just like, oh, it's
Yeah,
like,
that's a lot of information to give away.
yeah. And then like I think my favorite one that I heard secondhand is like it was just like blue-black control versus approach the second son's control, and like they're just playing their match, like the approach player casts their second approach, the blue-black player like casts a counter spell on that one. And then the judge from the event just happens to be walking by and just says, "Doesn't matter if it's countered, he cast it, so you lose." and then they both, and then like, that's what happens. That was like game 3 or whatever. They sign the match slip and turn it in. And then later the judge like figures out from like presumably talking to another judge or something that he was quite mistaken in this circumstance, and then comes back to the table and says like, "Okay, well, it seems that I was wrong. At this point it's too late to go back and fix it, so or to rewind or whatever, so we're just gonna go with that you both win."
You both win.
You both win. And then he follows it up with, seeing as how this is a single elimination PTQ, this could end up with more than one undefeated player at the end of the event, which could lead to the top 8 being decided by tiebreakers. And then he just walks away. I think that that's that part it. So I know they're newly judge calls. I feel like I've lost track of time on this one.
I'll do one more and then we can go to the next topic. I had a pretty noodly judge call when I was playing in GP Minneapolis deep in day 2.
Yeah.
And I unmorph a Gen Protector, target, and say, I'll return Declaration of Stone to my hand. And in the process of this happening, there's a judge call that ends up going on for like 7 minutes. And so I finish taking my turn. It goes to him, goes to me, goes to him, goes back to me, and I'm like, hey, like 5 turns ago, I didn't return this Declaration of Stone to my grip. And then we call the judge, and the judge is like, yeah, that's like way too late. And so I appeal to the head judge, and so the head judge is like, yeah, put that Declaration of Stone back in your grip. And I'm like, yep, get your Archangel Avis and battle you down.
Ooh, that's about 3 minutes on whatever this topic was. If you roll a 12 again, we'll be talking about one prickly boy. Alright, time to spin the wheel. Oop, that's too far. Alright, let's spin it again. Where'd it go?
It's under
Ooh, there it is.
20.
Ooh, 20. Galaxy Quest. Ooh, Galaxy Quest is nice. So, one fine ship. Never give up, never surrender. So how do you feel about Galaxy Quest?
Galaxy Quest is pretty noodly.
Yeah.
I'd say it's like reasonably reasonable.
I would say it's unreasonably reasonable.
Yeah, I'd probably have to go unreasonably
Yeah.
reasonable on this one.
Yeah, I might have to upgrade my rating.
So Greg, how many times do you think Galaxy Quest has been watched in the not the like current car, but like the Explorer that you used to have? How many times did that Galaxy Quest copy get played through that?
Probably only like twice, maybe.
Really? I thought you like brought it on like every trip and watched
I did bring it along a fair amount of times.
We watched it like 2 or 3 times on one.
Oh, did we?
One trip, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. For those who don't know, Galaxy Quest is a classic, I believe, 1999 Tim Allen movie where they're essentially like they were essentially on Star Trek, but they were the actual actors who were on the show Star Trek. But then aliens visit Earth and convince them. They're basically they've seen the shows and they're looking for help to fight like a galactic menace. So they recruit the actors to fight on an actual starship that's a replica of the ship from the show, which is pretty convoluted, but just works. It's nice.
Oh yeah, I love how like their entire culture is just based off of this TV show. Like all of their technology is based off of it.
Like you can't possibly think you can't possibly think this is real. What about Gilligan's Island? And they're just like, oh, those poor souls. Yeah. I also like the part where he's like in space and he needs help because he doesn't actually follow the show. He doesn't know how it's supposed to work, so he like has to call a fan to get help.
Yeah.
And he's like, that he had just like insulted the fan about how the show isn't real, it's just BS and whatever, and now he's calling him and he's like, and the fan's all sad, he's like, I know the show's not real and blah blah blah, and then Tim Allen's just like, no, it's all real, and the kid's just like, I knew it all along.
That's probably my favorite moment of the whole movie.
Yeah, that movie's great.
Who would you say is your favorite character?
I think, who's that guy like Severus Snape's?
Alan Rickman? Yeah, he's my favorite.
I was saying, who's the grouchy guy who plays Snape?
Yeah.
By Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of Warman, you shall be avenged. That's nice. All the characters have like noodly arcs, I think, as well. Like he starts off like super mad about that line because it's the only line that he ever got that people remember. He has to say it all the time in like the Star Trek conventions, and now
he's just part of this highly successful TV show, but he's like feels like a failed actor because it's not like to the pedigree that he would like it to be.
Yeah, he's just sitting there saying the same line over and over again. But then by the end of the movie, he just says it in earnest, in like an actual situation where it just comes up, and he's like, "Oh, maybe I am special, or this is special, and whatnot."
The movie is good, definitely worth watching.
It's about yay noodly, I suppose.
I would recommend yay number of watches.
Yeah, definitely check.
I don't know
out.
if 3 times on one trip sounds like a lot, but I mean,
well, what else are you gonna do? All right, so if we roll a 20 again, we'll be talking about bad first date ideas.
All right, let's spin the wheel. 12 again.
Ooh, 12 is one prickly boy.
Ooh.
So one prickly boy refers to I have a cactus in my apartment that looks pretty dead. And that's because I forget to water it. So
yeah, but why did you forget to water it?
I don't know, because why would you think I forgot to water it?
Is it because it's a cactus?
Well, right.
It needs water.
So Greg is like comes over. It's like, this is dying? Why haven't you watered it? I'm like, that's real?
He just thought it was a fake plant. I'm like, how long?
My mom's got that for me like 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, no, because what happened is I like grab a piece and like the leaf just like falls off, and I'm like, your plant seems like it's dying. Like, what's going on? And you're like, quit breaking my plant. I'm like, I didn't break it. The leaf just fell off on its own. And you're like, why would it fall off? It's a fake plant. I'm like, it doesn't seem fake.
Yeah. Well, the first prickly boy was back at my old apartment when I got a nice cactus. And I was trying to name my pet cactus, and I named it Joffrey. Like this was when like the first season of Game of Thrones came out, because of his prickly personality.
That's nice.
I thought that was pretty sweet. A lot of people
Pretty
didn't really.
appropriate.
No, not very many people really appreciated the name Joffrey at that point. Actually, a lot of people kind of hated Joffrey.
Oh, the character.
Yeah.
There was this guy in college that like had the nickname Joffrey, not because he was like a jerk or whatever, but just because he looked exactly like Joffrey.
Are you talking about T-Man?
Yeah. The Taylor. Yeah.
He does look a little bit like Joffrey, which is a
He's
little
a bit taller than Joffrey.
A lot taller than Joffrey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like 6'5", probably, but he's tall.
He's pretty tall.
One prickly boy.
But it does just look like Joffrey a lot. One prickly boy indeed.
So, Greg, for traveling, what's your favorite place that you visited that had cactuses?
It's kind of specific. Let's see.
We're talking about cactuses. I mean,
Probably has to be like southwestern U.S.
I mean, there's like Las Vegas.
you've probably been to Phoenix, GP Phoenix.
Have I been to?
There was a PTS.
I was at GP Phoenix with you.
Oh yeah, so I've been there, and like Albuquerque probably has cactuses, right?
Yeah.
Does like LA have cactuses?
Yeah. I think so.
I went to what's like the California city that's like south of LA?
Sacramento.
No.
It's like
That's
on
north.
It's like on the coast too. It's like a vacation spot.
San Diego?
Yeah, San Diego. Yeah, I went to like a family reunion there once, like last year. It wasn't even that long ago, and it was nice.
San Diego's really nice. San Diego's really nice.
Yeah.
Are we ready to roll again, or we got?
Yeah, we probably are. So if we roll a 12 again, we'll be talking about the Book of Mormon. Time to spin the wheel. Oh! Alright, well, that looks like this is the end to this episode. Thanks for tuning in.
Alright, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Alright. Alright, looks like you found the special bonus spin. Alright, time to spin the wheel. Ooh, number 4. Forcing and draft.
Ooh.
So you suggested this one, right, Matt?
Yeah, I think like forcing in draft is usually like frowned upon and is seen as like bad form, but I think it can be useful in like certain instances.
Yeah.
Where like if you
Open a noodly rare, for example.
Yeah. I think if like you aren't super experienced in the format and don't feel comfortable like staying open and like reading the signals and stuff, and you just have like 2 archetypes that you think are really good, you can just like force those 2 every time and be reasonably successful.
If you're playing like a GP or something and you like know that like these 3 archetypes are pretty good, then you can just like pick one of those and just go for it if you want.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or if you're just like feel like you're a step above your competitors, you could just say like, oh, I have this secret archetype in my back pocket that no one else knows about. I'm just gonna draft it no matter what and just crush everyone.
Yeah.
Which is pretty rare, but it happens from time to time. Like there's like
the Manolith like 5 color deck that like Sam drafted at like one of the PTs where you guys were like all in the Hour of Devastation, like the people
like,
thought it was like the 2 drops, and then like the 5 color Biz was like,
yeah, you could like draft some like 5 color Biz an hour. There's also like 5 color and like Cons of Tarkir, which was like good deck. And there's like the what was the 1/2 unblockable
There
deck?
was the Slitherblade deck
the
and
Slitherblade
Amonkhet.
deck
Yeah.
and Amonkhet, yeah. That's the classic.
Just like draft all of the 1-drops in Jeskai.
Yeah.
One thing about forcing that I think is like it depends on formats. So like for example, Rivals of Ixalan, where like decks, I think it's kind of forcing can be harder when there's decks like Merfolk, where you're like, oh, I opens like the Lord, I'm gonna force this, and when the deck doesn't come together, your deck like train wrecks completely hard because you're like, oh, well, our cards really suck. They're really, really synergy driven.
Yeah, the Merfolk deck in Ixalan was pretty shallow too. Like there was only so many good cards that went into the Merfolk deck in blue and green. Yeah. So if there was like 1 or 2 other people drafting it around you, then you just couldn't do it, and then you'd have a deck with like half playables or whatever.
Yeah, I remember having a deck at that PT with 3 Ripjaw Raptors. Or no, that was at the GP. I had 3 Ripjaw Raptors in the deck. I went 1 and 2 in that draft.
Ooh, that sounds unfortunate.
Ripjaw Raptor must not be that good then.
It was really good. I mean, Green Blue not Merfolk was not particularly good.
Yeah.
It didn't really have removal, and like if they did anything, that was like.
Yeah, Merfolk was one of those decks I like tried to stay away from, but if I like felt like I had to go into it, I was just like, oh well, time to spin the wheel.
That's how I felt with Merfolk. I tried to stay away from it as much as possible.
The format was all about the chickens and the dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
One snubby boy.
The Esper colors of that format were like pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, the second rival set?
Yeah, just Rivals of Ixalan.
Oh, okay.
I was just thinking regular Ixalan.
Oh, regular Ixalan, like Esper was stupid because it was
like the Vampires deck and like the Pirates deck.
Yeah. Any deck where you could put any of the auras into your deck or white cards.
One with the Wind was very dumb.
I mean,
Mark of the Vampire.
And Mark of the Biz.
I mean,
Mark of the Biz.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel at table 1 in the GP had 3 Pirates Cutlasses in his draft deck for the second draft. Oof. And like smashed it and was like the 1 seed going into the top 8.
Yeah, that was nice. Alright, so we've talked about this topic for about 4 minutes. So thanks for finding the secret extra spin, wheel aficionados, wheel enthusiasts, whatnot. Alright, yeah.
No, truly, signing off.
Never give up. Never surrender.